What's going on, boys? Not going to say welcome back to another video. Now, in today's video, we're going to go over the 4-1-2-1-2 second variation. Now, Tiki-Taka is back. If you love playing with Tiki-Taka, this is definitely the formation to go with. I mean, I've been using this for the past couple of weeks. I talked about it being like now it's actually brought back. The last time I used this formation was maybe FIFA 18, where you could play at Tiki-Taka. And the real benefit is you have those players that are tight together to make those plays. If you like going narrow down the middle and direct, this is definitely the formation for you to use. And you can see from some of these clips, I really love it because I have the ability to play that tight-knit football, that quick play, and go straight in the middle direct. So let's go through the tactics first. Okay, so first of all, I'm always going with a combination of somewhat of at least someone in the attack as advanced forward and one in the poacher. I think in a two-striker formation layout, that's what I'm really going for. I'm just doing a Sun Evolution here, but I got both Philogene, 5-star, what a player. And then I've got, of course, Sun up front. Now, this is the one which will depend on your playstyle. Do you want to get better at FC25? Now, before you skip ahead, what if I told you if you join my FC school and you didn't get better after 1 month, I'll refund your money? I can say this because I've been running my FC school for many years and thousands of students join and even stay on. We go over complete in-depth gameplay tutorials showing you both the theory of something and the gameplay examples using real-life examples in a structured format that's like a course. The videos on a systematic learning system teaching you everything from the core mechanics, the basics to the meta so you can get better as a whole with explanations that go beyond the scope of my YouTube channel. FC School has already started with every single tactical layout, focuses, meta cards, and learn the meta before it even becomes the meta. So come join thousands of others in a mature audience community for those looking to get better at FC25, patreon.com/nilguides, or click the link down below. Now, when you join, we already have a library of hundreds of videos, more than my YouTube channel, in fact, with new videos on FC25 getting constantly added so you'll never run out of content. The biggest mistake people do is they spend thousands of dollars on FP points every year thinking this will make them better, but it won't. But now it's time for you to make that change. Don't forget, if you don't get better after 1 month, just send me a message and I'll refund your money. That's the Nil Guides guarantee. Links down below in the description, patreon.com/nilguides. I personally prefer the Shadow Striker because that striker and that cam connection, you have 3 players on stay forward. So when you win the ball back, you have 3 players on stay forward that you can pass the ball to. I think Shadow Striker is the best, if you ask me, for a role inside the game in that cam position. But I would say that if you struggle defensively, you can always go with a playmaker. The benefit is with a playmaker, not roaming, just a normal one, is that they provide that assistance. I wouldn't recommend a build up. I think literally just going with a playmaker balance, at least they come back a little bit and can help you defend. At least you won't feel that you got no one in that vicinity. But to be honest, for all the better players here, you want to be more attacking, I'd recommend Shadow Striker. Now, for both the center mids, this is where you kind of have 2 choices. So I think at the very least, you want one of them on the playmaker. I have that as a Dan card, free card, one of the best cards you can get. I'm sure all of you have evolved him if you were very lucky enough to get it. And I think you had to create your club before a certain day. I can't remember exactly what it was. But the problem is, you have holding, no benefit. Deep line playmaker, no benefit. The only other benefit is box to box. Now, I actually like a combination of playmaker attacking and then putting the other one on box to box. That way you got a bit of variety. So when you have the ball, you have one player that's kind of going through on the right-hand side, but you got different movement with Tonali maybe being a bit delayed on the left-hand side. So the benefit is you have 2 different options on the left and on the right-hand side. So when you have the ball with your cam or your CDMs, you can go both ways. If you want to be ultra attacking, I would recommend putting one of these on playmaker, or both of them on playmaker. Otherwise, I'd say put one of them on box to box and one of them on playmaker plus. That's what I'd recommend. Don't put them on holding. Ideally, players with ping pass will go over the roles as well in a second. Now, for the CDM, I've put a deep line playmaker. Someone that can get the ball. If you have that Evo, you know, I'll talk about those Evo, the team of the year ones where you can move a center back. And let's say you got a pinged pass center back. I've got Eder Militao. He can play that role very well. He's actually got the pinged pass and the jockey playstyle for a CDM. Absolutely insane. Because I was very careful and I waited to evolve him. So you can do something like that. But someone that can distribute the ball is fine. Both the defenders on defend, left back and right back on full back defend, and goalkeeper on defend as well. I don't really use super keep or anything like that. Nothing extravagant. Now, for the actual tactics, that's the code over there if you want to copy it. Again, you can always change the center mid to be playmaker as well. But that's the code. Capital Papa and sign November, capital Tango, Yankee Juliet, and capital Victor, capital Zulu, capital Lima, and Zulu. 4-1-2-1-2 now, as I mentioned, the build-up style is on counter. Now, me personally, I play 65. I think for most people, this is going to be maybe a bit too aggressive. The reason why I play with a higher depth is because you don't have wide players. Of course, the most obvious thing that you're going to be weak against is, for example, someone that's playing down the wings. In fact, you ideally want to take someone like one of your center mids, and you might have to move them across manually to defend the wide areas. Something for you to know. So if you know that you're not good at defending, you don't want to be high up the pitch, then reduce this. The reason why I do it, and maybe it's the way you should play it if you want the best and most fun. Maybe you might not get the 15, maybe you might get the 14-1 or the 13-2 that you might normally get if you're a 15-0 player. But the benefit of this is that you can attack down the middle. You have everyone tighten it together. When you lose the ball, you got to use your left center mid or right center mid, defend with them manually the wide areas. And the idea is being high up the pitch so I can be a bit more aggressive, win the ball back, as opposed to sitting deep and letting people go and build up down in the wing areas there. So something you got to bear in mind. You may have to move your left center mid and your right center mid over, but that's a defensive approach high. Now for the players, 2 strikers, you can go with 1 agile, 1 clunky, like a Haaland and like maybe like a Ham. But it's up to you. I would just say both of them, at least 1 advanced forward, 1 poacher. That way I get 2 different movements. That's just personally what I like. Cam, shadow striker, a second striker should be here. Someone that can shoot, someone that can dribble, someone that can pass. You got the tiki-taka and the pinged playstyle plus, even better. Or you can use something like the technical, but the tiki-taka playstyle here will be very, very important. For the left center mid and right center mid, both my Tonali's got the number 8 evolution, and Zidane has got his normal evolution. So they both got ping passes and can bring the ball directly into my front 3. But players that can do a bit of everything, Valverde, a cheap example as well. The CDM, I've also gone with Gray, but I put Militao there sometimes. He's got the pinged pass. And of course, the real benefit, of course, he does have is the jockey playstyle plus, so you can defend equally as well and distribute those balls going forward. For 2 centre backs, a regular centre back is, high sprint speed. Don't be using anyone with 82 sprint speed. In my opinion, now I'm going 90 sprint speed minimum, if you're asking me, even for myself. Before I used to go 85, now I'm honestly going towards 90 sprint speed minimum, ideally with a chemistry style. Without a chemistry style, then even better, you're laughing. Left back and right back both on defend. And if I have to trigger those players forward manually, I can do that. So if I want to push the low, and let's say I want to trigger him to help with the attack, I can do that. Now, let's say you're really struggling with this. You shouldn't be, but what you can do as well is you can put, for example, one of these players on holding defend, and then you can put one of these players, for example. I wouldn't... Classic 10, I don't like it. I think you're better off just using a shadow striker. A classic 10 also stays forward. They don't come back on defense. But I think a shadow striker just offers more, kind of like an extra striker. I like those deep runs that they make. I like how they're always forward. So personally speaking, I wouldn't really want to use the classic 10. So I would probably keep something like a shadow striker. Or you could, if you want to, go to playmaker like this. Don't put it on roaming. And that way you can be a bit more conservative. And then you have, for example, the right center mid. Or you can even, if you want to be even more safer, you can do something like this. And you can go box to box. So you have, for example, one player on holding. If you want, you can put them on ball, wanting to be slightly aggressive. But then at least that way you got, okay, you got, when I have the ball, I got one player sitting CDM. And maybe I got my holding less than a mid. Why this could be useful is, let's say, for example, I don't know, you have, for example, something like this. Then you have someone that's there. So Tonali, when you lose the ball, let's say, you can run back with Tonali to cover that area. Or alternatively, what you can do is, if you go with your CDM, and you go wide defend, that way, let's say, for example, you have, let's say, your left back going forward, you could have your CDM theoretically going to cover that left back position and then making your team more attacking. Then, of course, when you lose the ball, you're going to have no CDM, but at least you've got one player holding, or you could even put both the left center mid and right center mid holding as well, if you like going down those wing routes. I personally don't like it. One thing I would say, find another change that you can do. Let's say you're like saying, like, okay, no, this is actually very good. What else can you do here? Something else you could do is something like this. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can have a back 5. At this point, you might as well just play the 5-2-1-2. But let's say you really wanted to have those left back and right backs going forward, and you wanted a bit of a safe strategy, you can do something like this. But I think at that point, you might as well just go to a 5-back if you're asking me personally speaking. The only way you actually will do this is if you did centre half defend. There's a new Evo as well for that as well, but you could do something like this and something like this. And then you have, remember I talked about the 3-5-2, and this is what I was experimenting with early on, something like this. So you have, well, you put both of them on stay back, or holding, should I say. So this way you could have, for example, a makeshift when you're defending, which is not ideal, but you're defending a 4-1-2-on-2. But with the ball, it ends up becoming something like a 5-3-2 without the CDM center mids. So it can be very, very aggressive and very, very attacking. But that's the only downside, is that you defend in a narrow system. It's much better defending a wide 4-4-2, which maybe I'll make a video on another day. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget, if you want to get better FC25, come to my Patreon. So patreon.com/NoGuys, links down below in the description. I'm also a bit more freer this week since Team of the Year hype is done. So if anyone wanted coaching and you're not part of the Patreon, do send me an email. I can probably get you in this week as well. Let me know down below in the description. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.